Oh, there's a giant crab on the steps. It was massive. Can you hear the water lapping?
I just have to go to the toilet, man. That water lapping's very evocative.
Well, the water is way deeper than when we did our trial run. It's like up to my chest. Can you see me on the computer?
Yeah.
All right. We're all good then. All right. So, this is a very special episode of the Unmade podcast, Tim. We've talked before. We've even recorded an episode in the sea. And if you remember, I really liked the idea of doing entire episodes at sea. Well, like in the water, my body of water idea, it's coming true today.
Are you going to last the whole episode out there?
I don't know. Let's see how long we go. Let me paint a picture for people listening. I'm currently on holiday in the Maldives, and we're staying in one of those overwater villas, and I've set up my laptop right on the edge of this little platform we have over the sea, where Tim and I are Zooming. But I'm really far from the computer, but because I've got my Bluetooth headphones in the sea, Tim and I can still hear each other. I've got 2 GoPros set up, and then I've just sort of walked down the steps from the villa into the sea, and I'm standing in the sea, up to my chest in water, holding a Zoom recorder so I can get a decent quality recording, and Tim and I are about to do some quality podcasting. Tim, what does it look like from where you are, and where are you?
Well, I'm in Adelaide. And I'm in an office. Is that what you mean, or do you mean the view of you?
Well, start with you.
All right, I'm in my regular office at Malvern Uniting Church, next to a big window, which have a beautiful view normally, but it's dark now because it's the evening. One of the parents of one of the young people that's in another part of the building just, did the whole slowly show your face coming in from the side of the windowsill to scare the absolute living daylights out of me trick. He was very successful. My light's on. I've got the microphone here. I have an iced coffee, and I'm staring at one of my best friends on the other side of the world at a resort. I mean, it doesn't get any more sad and depressing than that.
Can you actually see me, or do you just see the sea, or can you actually see me like as I'm waving to you?
No, you're really prominent. It'll be funny when you watch this later. You're very clearly the main thing in the screen. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If you get further away and I start calling out, Wilson!
Send for help. My wife is currently taking some pictures for us as well. She's behind the cameras taking some stills. All this stuff will be on the video and all the usual places.
The shot sort of has a banister there, which is I know is the edge of the balcony, and then there's a net thing, which you've been telling me is where you lay out on. So it's sort of, because of where the laptop needs to be, it's a bit askewed, but very clear shot of you and some crystal clear water. Just beautiful.
It is. Normally you can see all the fish and sharks and stingrays and all sorts of stuff. There's not much around me at the moment. It's a little lull in sea life proceedings, so I should be safe from attack.
Well, I'll let you know if something appears in the background, or if I start hearing some dun dun dun.
It'd be the most amazing podcast episode ever if I got attacked by a shark like live while we were recording. That would be gold.
Yes. Don't make me want it to happen.
Let's be honest. I know there's only one thing you really want to talk about, so should we get that out the way first?
Absolutely. I mean, this is massive news. Massive news.
All right. So prior to this holiday, in fact, it must have been a month or 2 ago now, my wife said to me, one of the things my wife does before a holiday is she'll sometimes have a spray tan because she thinks it's nice to look really bronzed and lovely right from day one. And she said to me offhand, "You should have one too. Why don't I book one for you at the same time?" And I kind of very offhandedly said, "Yeah, okay, try anything once." So I agreed to it. So we were both booked in. And then the day before the holiday, I actually had to go and have the spray tan. And that's when reality set in. This was a new experience for me. And then if agreeing to that was foolish enough, the other really foolish thing I did was I told Tim I'm going for a spray tan. And I regret that.
This is the highs and lows of your life. A week ago, you're having a medal pinned to you by Prince Charles. A week later, you're getting a spray tan. And I think that's modern life right there, the high and low. That is unbelievable.
I think this is slightly close-minded of you. You know, I always think of you as quite a liberal guy, quite up for anything, and you just can't come to terms with the spray tan.
No. I have pride. It's not closed-minded to hold on to your dignity. I mean, come on.
I have to say, it was not the most dignified. 1 second. Yeah.
You need to say that the other reason why I have a spray tan is because I don't like to go in the sun, because the sun's bad for you.
Oh, okay.
So that's why.
I don't know if you heard any of that, Tim. My wife's shouting out footnotes from the balcony. There was a few things she wanted to point out, only a few of which I will point out.
Right.
One is she wanted it to be known that one of the reasons she likes the spray tan is she gets to look tanned without spending too much time in the sun, because the sun is very dangerous. She's the patron of a skin cancer charity. Do not spend too much time in the sun. Yeah, so...
Wow, okay, so I can't disagree with that, but...
No, but the other thing she wanted me to point out to you was she does have photographic evidence of the spray tan, which is where it comes to the complete lack of dignity.
Yes.
Because...
Yes.
We went into this room together, and then this woman came and sprayed us both down. And so I was just there in my undies with my eyes closed, having the spray tan applied. Unbeknownst to me, my wife was snapping away photos on her phone.
This wasn't like at Windsor Castle where you buy the photos afterwards.
Is there anything you'd like to know about the process, or are you just going to continue with your solemn condemnation and nothing else?
Well, I think there are 3 stages of the loss of dignity. I mean, sitting out in the sun all day long to go bronze is also pretty stupid, isn't it? But at least it's the traditional way. But it's terribly stupid. And then I think, okay, well, then you can go into those solar beds, right? Where you can actually, you lay in the bed. And I think they're also not very good for you either, are they? I think that they
they're
look
bad.
a bit dodgy. Like you may as well sit in a microwave for the afternoon.
Yep.
And then what you're talking about is you go somewhere, you stand there, and someone sprays you. Now, so I want to know, there was an episode on Friends, right, when Ross accidentally had one side of him sprayed like 4 times and not the other side of him. And that's because it all came out as one giant explosion. But, like, is that what happened to you, or was it more like slowly walking around you with a spray can? Like... How did it work?
It was slowly just going down you in like one leg and then down the other leg. I have to say, it didn't feel like you were going really brown. Like, it felt, when I was watching them do it to my wife, it did feel a little bit like she was being photoshopped and you were just clicking like the fill tool and suddenly it went a little bit browner. But when I was watching it happen to me, I was thinking, I don't look that different. Like, I don't think I'm much browner because, I'm a pretty pasty white guy. And I still thought that's what I looked like. It was only when you saw the borderline where your pants were and you saw the difference between before and after that you realised, I'd say I am a bit browner. They have done, it has worked.
All right.
But I didn't feel really, really deeply brown, like a really tanned dude. And also, it comes off pretty easily. And by the time you've had a shower and then you get to the Maldives and jump straight in the sea and all that sort of stuff, you've kind of... I feel like you've lost it a bit, but apparently it works. Apparently it makes me look a bit healthier and nicer. I don't know.
You do realise you're not actually healthier, though? Like, it's not done.
No. I know. But if you're coming on a trip to the Maldives, it's all about being a bit posy and looking fancy, isn't it?
Is it? This was a man or a woman with a spray can?
It was a woman with the spray can. It was a woman.
She was holding like a gun with a long hose. Is that how it is?
Yeah, a hose and a little gun and a little bottle of the liquid underneath the gun. So it's it's like when people do that with paint, like when people are spraying cars. It reminded me a lot of when you're seeing cars getting sprayed.
And was this was done in? It's like a room or a shower area, or just out the back in the alley. Like how do they?
It was in a room, but then they set up this little tent, like a little teepee type tent, in that you stand in as well, so that it catches all the spray, so it doesn't go all over the place and all over the walls. So you're in this kind of this sort of cloth tent that's tall enough for you to stand up. It's like a one-person stand-up tent.
And she's in it with you, or you're in it? There must be
No, you're in it, and she's out. She's just outside the door, and she's putting you in different poses. Like, so if you can see me now, man, she'll say, "Okay, stand like this, side on. Okay, now turn around and do it the other way. Right. Now let me do your front of your legs. Now the back of your legs." And you just stand in all the positions she says, so that she can get all the angles.
It's a bit like when you're getting the metal detector treatment at the airport, by the looks of it. The way you're standing and then
yes,
yeah,
it is just like that. Yep.
Imagine if that's what you had to do every time you caught a flight. Like, take off your shoes and socks, sir. Step over here. Now take everything else off. We're just going to spray you brown before you get on the plane. Just to make sure. Is this what you were joking to Prince Charles about last week?
Yeah. He said, "Oh, you look very pale. I hope you aren't going to the Maldives anytime soon." Yeah. Anyway, it was done. I say try anything once. You should try it sometime, man. You might like it.
I would not be trying it. And No. Well, having the beautiful, I don't know if you know that my father's Dutch, so I have this wonderful European sort of, complexion. So I just sort of go golden at will, really.
Go right.
Are you next week then getting a toupee? Will you be trying toupees?
That's a bit of a leap from a spray tan to a toupee.
I don't think it's as long a leap as you think it is. I think
I am having some Botox done around my eyes, but everyone does that.
You're going to come back from the Maldives looking like a pufferfish, I know. It's going to
I filmed a pufferfish 2 days ago right where I'm standing, a big yellow one, right at this spot. Anyway, would you like to ask me anything about the Maldives and seeing I'm standing in the water and,
Are there any pufferfish at the Maldives?
Funny you should ask. If people are watching the video right now, I'll include some footage for them.
Well, okay, let me start with the basics, right? Because you chuff off to the Maldives every now and then. I actually don't know where the Maldives are. I'm assuming they're somewhere Caribbean because it's somewhere to go, or south, or the top of Africa.
No, man.
I literally don't know where they are. Where is the Maldives in the world?
Well, you're very far away at the moment, so let me help you out. You know where India is, right?
I do.
And you know where Sri Lanka is at the bottom of India? The little teardrop at the bottom of India? If you go left from Sri Lanka and then down a little bit, that's the Maldives.
Oh, right, okay.
Down there in the... I think that must be the Indian Ocean, but it's also... Is it the Lactavian Sea? I'm not even sure how to say it. The sea's got its own name, but it's sort of that big Indian Ocean there. Below India and to the west of it.
I'm going to look it up on a map.
Look it up on a map, if you don't believe me.
Well, I do believe you. I'm just... oh, yeah, okay. Yep, okay, so that... Oh, wow. So is this a small kingdom? Is it part of the British Empire still, or is it...
Oh, no, it's its own country. It's its own country, and it's lots and lots and lots of tiny islands. There's and they're all tiny, scattered, because it's a series of atolls, which are like these sort of rings of coral reefs that have become islands. Yeah. And so it's a whole series of islands. I don't know how many. I would guess in the hundreds. Most of them can't be inhabited because they're just like a bit of coral and sand and maybe a palm tree. And some of them are just big enough to be inhabited. And most of them that can have people on them have been turned into luxurious resort accommodation. So it's almost like everywhere. So Maldives is known as a real, tourism holiday destination, and every single place you go to stay is its own island. So every island has like just one place on it, with some accommodation and some restaurants and a bar and stuff like that.
Yep.
And the way a lot of them work, and sort of the cliched picture you've probably seen of Maldivian accommodation, is the island itself will have reception and a restaurant and stuff like that maybe. Yeah. And maybe some villas and accommodation near the sea. But then they build these sort of piers or jetties that come out into the sea, and they build accommodation on top of that over the water, on top of the pylons, over water villa accommodation, which is where I am just at the moment, staying in one of those villas above the water. And the water is crystal clear. It's very unusually clear water. It's always very hot, and It's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful looking place.
Oh, yeah, okay. So over on the right, that's down further is the Cocos Islands, and over the other side is the Seychelles Islands. Oh, and then down further is Mauritius, and you get over closer to Madagascar, and so you're sort of halfway between, Africa and Asia, really, below Sri Lanka. Yeah, right, okay. You really are a long way. So what's the capital city you stop at before you fly in, or do pretty big planes come into the Maldives?
Well, we flew direct in this case. The capital of the Maldives is a city called Malé, and Malé is a tiny, tiny island that has, if you Google Malé, you'll see it's this tiny, tiny island that has lots and lots of buildings on it. So it looks like a city, like just completely surrounded by water. And there's a separate island next to Malé, joined to it by a bridge that is just the airport. So you land basically on this island in the middle of the sea.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
And then once you've landed there at the airport, I've never actually been into Mali, even though I've landed there many times. What happens is you normally go and wait for half an hour, and then you get on a seaplane or a boat, usually a seaplane, and you fly out to the island you're staying at, which is what we did. So landed at the airport, sit around for a couple of hours, have something stuck up your nose so they can make sure you haven't got COVID, and then get on a seaplane, and then you land in the water at your island, and that's where you are for a week or so.
Do you know what the first sign, as I zoned in on Google Maps on Malé, the first symbol that came up was a fork and a knife and 3 little letters, KFC. There's definitely a KFC on Malé, so I don't know why you haven't been there, and I don't know why the heck you've flown to another island, but yes.
I did not know there was a KFC in Mali. I was even going to joke this is the one place in the world you won't find a KFC, but that's not true. There might be one at the airport. There's a Burger King at the airport. I know that.
There we go. Now, is there a king of the Maldives or a queen or...
No, I think they have a president. I don't know if they have a prime minister or a president, but they have a head of state. There's they've been known for some political unrest actually over the years. One of their leaders found himself in a bit, I don't know, was unpopular with other parts of the government and kind of got hit. There was some, I can't remember what the story was, but he was well known in the media because he was well known for doing lots of publicity stunts to help raise the Maldives profile around the environment, because obviously if the sea levels rise, Maldives is basically first place to go. Everything is at sea level in the Maldives. So so they're a bit worried. So he used to do all sorts of publicity stunts and stuff. So he got a bit of an international reputation and was in documentaries and stuff. But he also was a bit unpopular with some of his fellow government members. And he got I seem to recall he got ousted in some interesting way. But yeah, I'm going a bit off-piste here with my actual knowledge of Maldivian politics.
Are you? And with the Order of Australia, you are a representative of our nation in the Maldives. I was surprised you weren't met at the airport by the head of state and welcomed in. They mustn't have recognised you. It's like, no, this guy's too dark. That's not him. Doesn't.
I walked straight past. There was a welcoming party there. Told, look for a really pasty ginger guy, and I walked straight past. Is this a kind of holiday you think you'd go for? This kind of, sunny, tropical, nice sea sort of stuff? Is it your bag?
I prefer sort of a dour, busy, frantic, stressful sort of a holiday, with bad weather.
No, but you might be more of an urban type guy. You might be, New York City all the way sort of stuff. I don't want to sit, I could imagine you'd get bored.
To be honest, I have always preferred that kind of thing. I'd rather go to Melbourne is a regular one and go wander around the old city. I love going to New York or London. That feels like a holiday to me. Going off to, a lot of Australians go to Bali, and it's never appealed to me to go to Bali, to a resort and sit by the pool. But I have to say, as I get older, it is more and more feeling like a lovely idea. And looking at you there, that looks extremely isolated and quiet. And at least a week of that before you start to pot around and go, hang on a sec, is there? Well, I guess you got a book. You got internet connection, obviously, because we're doing this, and you've got 5G and all that. Even though you look like you're in a very isolated part of the world.
It is funny for me. I'm looking up at our lovely villa, and the blue sky behind, and I can just see my laptop sitting on a table, and the top of your hat and your glasses bobbing around as you talk.
That's a classic. Water. Why has the water idea been so compelling for you when it comes to podcast ideas?
I love everything about water. I feel at my most creative and happiest in water, like if I'm swimming or having a shower or anything like that. That's just always when I feel like, oh, I've got all these ideas and all these things I want to do and accomplish and be really creative. Invariably, I then jump out of the water I'm in and dry off and get dressed and get ready. And by the time I've done all that, I've kind of lost a bit of my mojo and the creativity has worn off a bit. But definitely in water, I feel at I'm definitely at my happiest.
There's those personality typing ideas, isn't there, that some people are water people and some people are earth people and fire people and air people, the elements. I can't recall what that's about, but someone who was into that was talking about themselves being an earth person once, and I switched off because that didn't. But it sounds like you're a water person.
Does that mean there are people who are at their happiest and most creative when they're on fire?
I guess it must be. I think it goes to sort of like, like they're a fiery person or they've got a strong anger issues probably or something like that. I can't remember.
So I've got something in my pocket, man. Are you ready? I'm going to hold it up for you.
Right. Oh,
can you see it?
It's tiny. Is it a spoon?
It is.
Spoon of the week.
So there is a little gift shop here on the island, and they had a selection of spoons, and this is the one I've gone for. It was by far my favourite.
Right.
So if people want to look at pictures in the notes or on screen and things like that, but I'll describe it. The bowl, the scoopy bit, has a sea turtle and various ornate things etched into it. So it's very characterful bowl. And then a nice ribbed stem. And then at the top of the handle, there is a heart, and then a lovely kind of metallic blue glowing finish that says Maldives with a picture of a Maldivian island and one of those jetties I was telling you about that comes off it with lots of accommodation. Very typical Maldivian scene. It's not that island I'm on, but it's just a sort of a generic Maldivian look.
Nice.
Maldives spoon of the week.
Well, that's quite a find. You went around and around and around Scotland to get one, but you come to the Maldives, the first gift shop you walk into, they're selling you spoons.
So I will send this to you, Tim, as a souvenir of my holiday.
Nice.
And
yes,
and it will have been in the water, so it may even be a little bit rusted from its time in the water here. But there you go. Actually, been in the sea, in the water. You can hear it splashing in the water now. There you go.
Capturing some of the water in the scoopy bit. I will, for my holiday, sit in the city and hold and look at your spoon and imagine the Maldives. And that'll be my little holiday.
We'll come here.
10 minutes.
We'll come here one day. Hopefully, some Maldivian tourism operator will listen to this episode and think, that was good. Imagine how good it would be if Brady and Tim were in the Maldives together making an episode. And they might fly us over and put us up for a week of podcasting from our own unmade villa.
Do any of the villas come with like separate single beds? I'm not sure they do. You've been in the water long enough. What's your feelings on the wrinkly skin? The wrinkly skin setting in.
Oh,
yet,
let me have a look at my fingers. Hang on. Yeah, I'm starting to get some wrinklage, definitely. Not full. It's not full blown, like when you look at your fingers and think, "Oh no, that's crazy. I've been in way too long." But I am starting to get a little bit of the wrinkly fingers. Where do you stand on wrinkly fingers from being in the water?
Well, I was always told that's a sign that your fingers are clean. You know, you've been in the water and they're clean. So I always see them as a sign of cleanliness and think, "Oh, that's good." It's obviously drawing out all the massive chunks of dirt that are sitting on the end of my fingertips, somehow balancing there.
Hang on. Do you mean you were told that it's a sign that you had clean fingers that they wrinkled, or your fingers are not clean until they become wrinkled?
I think, and again, this is something I'm now. This is one of those moments where you're now critically analysing something that was told to you as a child and realising there's not a lot of logic to it. I think it was a sign that it's time to get out of the bath. You know, you've been in the bath long enough.
Oh, okay. Yep.
You're clean. And look, your fingers are wrinkly.
Yeah.
That means they're clean. You're clean. Time to get out.
Even in the Maldives, we still have episode sponsors, and I thought it would be really exciting to have what I think might be the first ever hover ad done from in the sea, in the Maldivian sea here. Are you up for that?
Oh, I am. Yes, for hover.
Yeah. Hover?
Yes.
Practicing some hovercraft in the water.
Yes.
So, I haven't got my notes here in the water with me, man. What's hover? I can't even remember what hover is anymore. Do you want to tell people what hover is? Oh man, it's a flying fish. Oh, did you see? You wouldn't have seen it. There was a flying fish just jumping in and out of the water. Oh, it was leaping out of the water towards me. It did 2 leaps, and I thought it was about to do another one. It was hovering above the water, man.
How appropriate.
I'm sorry for that moment of way too much excitement. Hover is a service where you can register domains. If you want to register any web domain, the place to go is Hover. Hover.com/unmade. And the reason you want to go to Hover over all the other less good domain registrars is Hover has a brilliant interface. It's clean, it's easy to use, it's got all the features you would want. It hasn't got any of the features you wouldn't want.
It says here, we think about domains and emails so you don't have to. This is how we've come. I've actually gone to the Hover website to read what they say. We have features that you'll love. So that's good.
Yeah.
Our focus is on making it easy to find and register the perfect domain and providing you with the tools you need to manage your domains, email and DNS with ease. It's what we do, so you can focus on what you do.
And how appropriate, because Hover have also done the work for you, so you can focus on what you do by writing all those handy slogans about what they're about. I use Hover to register all my domain names. I've got a real war chest of domain names registered with Hover, some of which I consider to be in like action. They're in active service and they're attached to websites or they divert to things. Other ones are just there for a rainy day, little secret ideas I've got, and I've thought, when the time comes, I'm going to want this domain. I'm going to register it now. And that's what you should do. If you've got a little idea just tickling the back of your brain, don't let the time come and find out someone else has registered that name. You grab it now. You've still got timhine.ninja, haven't you? For in case you ever become a ninja.
Oh, yes. Yes. Just in case. I didn't want it to go because I know there'll be another Tim Hine out there with ninja skills.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I've got spoonoftheweek.com and I've definitely have spoon.cards for our collector cards.
Do you know what else we have? Hover.com/unmade. So there we go.
Yes.
We don't technically have it. Hover have it for us.
I believe you will get a 10% discount on your first purchase if you go to hover.com/unmade. I'm pretty sure it's 10%. Haven't got my notes in front of me, but that's how I remember it. Do check them out. They're a fantastic supporter of the show, and also I quite often receive emails from people saying, "Oh, Brady, I just went and registered a domain with Hover. Thanks for letting me know about them. They were really good." So I know every time someone goes there, they're a happy customer. Hover is the Maldives of domain registrars. I don't know what that even means. Just seems appropriate.
I'm typing in spray tan to Hover to see what's available.
Yeah. What can you get?
Spraytan.org.au is available. Spraytan.art. So there you go. Would you say it was art, what you had done?
I consider myself to be a walking piece of spray tan art.
You're like a Banksy work, aren't you? Someone sprayed all over you,
Yeah.
but you're a living piece.
I'm a human Banksy.
Spraytan.host. There you go. That's what you are. You're a podcast.
That's me.
Spraytan.host.
Register it while you can, people. Get in first. Make sure you get that 10% off.
And that's on sale too. They actually have sales at Hover too, so that's cool.
Tim, do you have a podcast idea you wanted to share today while I stand here in the water?
I've got an idea that we can workshop a little bit, which is another way
Yeah.
of saying I've got half an idea.
You're right.
I've been thinking about time, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
the mystery of time, and I know you know a lot more about this because you have a better understanding of physics and its relationship to time, to space, and why time slows down at fast speeds and all sorts of strange ways in which time works. But I also have recently learned that time, like our bodies remember time And now there's something in our bodies that resets every 24 hours. But then there's another part of our brain, and they don't even know what part of the brain it is, that sort of feels time, that experiences time. Time sometimes feels like it's slow, and sometimes it feels like it's zooming fast. When we're stressed, it's slower. When we're having a great time, it's fast, and all sorts of things like that. And you're on a holiday, and I was thinking about, particularly a holiday where you're staying in one spot. Does it feel like it's zipping by because it's fun, or does it feel like it's really slow because you're not doing anything? You're relaxing and resting.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fun talking point. Yeah, and you're right. On holidays, the first few days, time feels like it's going really slowly, and you're like, oh, this holiday is going to last forever. Oh, it's only day 2. Wonderful. It feels like we've been here forever. And then towards the end, it feels like it's running away from you. And oh no, it's ending really quickly. So, and you're right, there are lots of different ways people experience time, and the brain processes time. It's a very interesting topic. There's lots have been written about it, and lots have been. I've got friends who've made videos about it as well. There's a lot there. I don't, as a podcast idea.
Oh no, I'm coming to that.
Oh, okay. Go on. Then.
My idea was based on. There was this French scientist who was one of the first people to figure this out about the body and time, because he actually went in a very, very isolated cave for a long period of time in total darkness, and he just basically just dwelt there, and then just only contacted his team when he woke up, and when he felt like eating. And, when he knew he was about to fall asleep, or these kinds of things. And they just measured where that was. And that was one of the things whereby they discovered that there's something like a body clock. But he realized as well, he lost track of time. He thought he was in there for a month, but actually he was in there for 2 months or something like that. And many years later, he went down. So he went there for the Millennium Eve. We were talking about the Millennium Eve last time. And the year 2000, and he wanted to be there for midnight, but he went in early and tried to guess when it was, and so he called them when he thought it was Millennium Eve right on midnight, and it turns out it was the 4th of January. He'd lost this all sorts of time. So I like the idea of a podcast that's where you don't measure how long it's been since your last podcast. You basically. Some sort of context where you lose track of time and you talk about what you're thinking and where you're feeling, but somehow outside of measuring, it's been 2 weeks since our last episode, or it's been 10 days, or it's been a week. Yeah. Something where you describe your experience of life free of time. So that's as far as I've got.
Or do it in episode, man. If you're not with that, shut your eyes right now, man. Shut your eyes right now. Shut them. Are they shut?
Yep.
How long do you think you've been recording on your Audacity there?
Oh. Well,
how long have we been recording?
I would say 35 minutes.
Okay. Right. Now have a look. Yep.
Where are we? 39 minutes it is here.
Oh, wow. Not bad.
Oh, just not on bad. 40. That's not bad, is it? Although with editing and stuff, I'm probably right on smack, especially if you edit it down to 35 minutes exactly for me.
Oh, and that was when we started recording too, before I got in the water. So you're about right. That's a real theme in the film Blue Thunder, isn't it? The helicopter pilot, and he occasionally shuts his eyes and lets his stopwatch count down for 60 seconds and tries to stop it, I think, as close to 1 as possible, because they say it's a sign of madness when you start losing track of time or something. And I remember that was a real motif in that film. And of course, Castaway told us we must not commit the sin of turning our back on time.
But time is also quite arbitrary, though, isn't it? The length of a life and what's a good time, and you know what I mean? I've heard it said before, we overestimate what we're going to get done in 1 year, but we underestimate what we're going to get done in 10 years, because you just have no concept of time.
I like your idea, Tim, but I lean more towards trying to implement it in in a smaller way, rather than between episodes, making it more an in-episode thing. How well can people judge time? Talk to people. I quite like the idea of talking to people and then saying, how long have we been talking for? That's always really interesting. That's something I found really interesting, to bring up the Prince Charles meeting again last from the last episode. I ran a stopwatch on how long we were actually talking for and compared it with what I thought.
Oh yeah, and
I think it was a minute and a half, something like that, which is probably a bit shorter than I would have thought. It felt a bit longer.
I would have imagined it was much shorter. I pictured it sort of like you stood forward and, it's like 20 seconds and then move on. But he actually took a bit of time with you.
Well, you've seen a video of it now, haven't you?
I haven't, no. I've been waiting to show the girls and I haven't. The objectivity video.
Yeah. There you go. You can see it in that. But
oh, okay. You play it through.
how good are you at judging time when you do your sermons on Sunday? Like, do you always nail the exact same duration? Do you have to look at a clock? Is it like a natural feel for you now that they always just come out at the right time? How does that go for you?
Oh, this is a matter of some discussion on occasions.
Right.
Amongst the team.
Yeah.
Look, I'm pretty good. For people that aren't aware, in many churches, if you do a talk, it's about sort of 25 minutes. Some are much longer, and in some churches it's much shorter as well. But generally it's like, like a TED talk or a bit longer than a TED talk sort of talk. And
A Tim talk.
a Tim talk, that's right. Yeah. I'm pretty good at it because you do sort of, you naturally sort of bend things around 3 points. So there's sort of an introduction, you make a first point, second point, you link it in. I'm not quite as linear as that sometimes. I'll be making one big point that you build up to. But you do get a sense of, oh, hello, here we're going. I do, because one of my staff members put this here ages ago, have a little clock on, like, the pulpit 2000, the famous pulpit we have. I have never, ever glanced at it once during a sermon. It's been there for a year, and I should have it and look at it, but I don't. And even if I want to know the time, I don't look at it, and it's even in my eye line. I look at my watch and go, oh, hello, there we go. You get a feel for things. But I have a pretty good internal clock.
Yeah.
My wife would say it's off by about 5 or 6 minutes. Like,
and I take it from the tone in your voice, you have a reputation for going overtime, do you?
Well, no one ever complains when it's a bit shorter than it normally is. That's true.
No.
And whereas I'm sort of bursting with lots of things to say. So you sort of, I don't want to deal with this in a superficial way. So I want to tell you this, and I want to tell you this, and I want to make sure I get this bit in. But of course, that's because I sort of know how much I'm leaving out, and whereas other folks are sort of going, okay, well, that's I'm chewing on all that, what you've said so far. That's enough. That's, a meal, and now I want to get out and get a cup of tea and a biscuit and catch up with my mate or something like that.
Yeah, because when you hand over the reins to someone else to do the sermon one Sunday, I bet you don't like it when they go over time.
Well, no, of course not. No. You sort of go, and that's a really good question. Listening to someone talk feels longer than doing the talking. There's no question about that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. As our podcast lengths will attest to as well.
That's right. See, all civilians can agree. That's right. It does feel like it's gone in a minute, a sermon. You stand up and then it's over and you go, oh, wow, okay. Yeah, gosh.
Definitely when you give a talk, you never feel like you have enough time. Especially if you're talking about yourself, which you could just do forever.
I found it was much easier after doing 10 years of lecturing. That was easier as well, because a lecture you have like an hour or a couple of hours or something, and a wipe. You know what I mean? You can really just sort of flow things out. So coming in and doing something that's much more tight and pithy is a discipline. Yeah.
Would you like to do a TED talk?
Yeah, I think I would.
You'd do a good one, man. Someone signed Tim up for a TED talk. I'd watch that.
Oh, thanks, man. How long are TED Talks? They're about 10 minutes, aren't they?
They're 20, aren't they? Or 16 or something? There's
something like that.
There's some, or I think there's some straight. Put how long is a TED Talk into the Google monster. While you do that, there's someone 3 villas down from me who's just started snorkeling.
18 minutes. There you go.
18 minutes.
A TED Talk is 18 minutes, a length chosen by the TED organisers based on neuroscience and strategy. They understood that 18 minutes was long enough for a speaker to flesh out an idea, but short enough that a listener could take it in, digest it, and understand all of the important information. So
And how long do you budget for a sermon?
I usually go for 25. Yeah, so just slightly longer. So I am overstaying my welcome past neuroscience. Maybe I would be a better speaker if I put it into 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe I would be. Maybe I'll take that as a challenge this week. I'm going to do an 18-minute sermon. And
18 minutes.
I'm gonna hit it on the
Nail
knocker.
18 minutes and see if it worked. And how do you know if your sermon's been successful afterwards?
Generally the response of people, I can tell if it's been a good sermon or not, but of course it doesn't matter whether I feel like if I've rambled or I didn't quite nail it. You have a sense of clarity. And a lot of the time I'm talking to you in a sense, like I'm thinking, how would Brady respond to this? Or how would I explain this to Brady? Or, you know what I mean? Like a thinking person with a skeptical mind, I'm thinking, because you don't like to just say platitudes. You want to go, now let me make the case for this. You know what I mean? Let me explain this in a way that it's new and fresh, and any normal skeptical person would say that.
Why do you feel like you have to conquer a skeptical mind when you're delivering a sermon in your church, which by and large must surely be to Christians, believers?
Because I want to do two things. I want to help thinkers to believe, but I also want to help believers to think. Like, I want them to not just go, oh, yeah, that's... Because I think when you hear something the same way, it can lose its power. So I like to do it, tell it slant. You know what I mean? Like, tell it in a way that makes them go, oh, hello, that's a different way of looking at it. I'm going to... allow that to penetrate my thinking and my behaviour and my living and the way I care about people a bit differently. I despise cliches, so you're trying to make a case on its own terms as well, rather than just, I believe because I've always believed. I'm always trying to say, well, hang on a second, let's let this, you know what I mean, come at it in a different way.
How can you tell when you've given a not-so-good sermon? Is it because obviously people aren't going to come up to you and say, that was a real turkey, Tim. Is it just because you're getting less compliments, a bit less enthusiasm, and that's the marker?
Yeah, it's not compliments. It's more people's response. You can tell that there's a feeling in the room, or there's a feeling with people afterwards, or they're sitting reflectively, or they're asking for a moment of prayer or something like that. It's not quite compliments. Sometimes it's a thank you or something like that. It's complimentary, but it's not quite a compliment. We do have like a meeting every Monday morning with the team, and we actually go over, okay, yesterday was Sunday, and we go through the different parts, what happened with the kids ministry and the youth, what happened with, was there any logistical stuff, and the service itself, and we debrief it. And including the sermon, I ask them, okay, what's 1-2 things that could be improved with the sermon and all that, and we analyse it, and they have permission to say it was too long or that bit didn't quite work. And my wife is very good on that, knows that I don't want to be given platitudes. She wants to say, "No, I thought that was really, really good, but went on a bit here, or that example didn't quite work," or something like that. It's just
wives are very good at that.
Yeah, that's right.
Look, I feel like I haven't done justice to your time idea, and I feel like there's a lot more there, but this is probably not the time for it because I'm in the water and highly distracted. And I feel like that's an idea you've thrown at me that would require me to be like 110% focused and that. So I feel like maybe that's one we should come back to. I think maybe you've gone a bit too clever for me there. I can't quite do it justice today.
Do you find your thinking slows down on holiday? Like, are you finding it harder to make decisions?
No, I don't actually. I find I'm probably more creative. Like, I'll have really good ideas.
Like, do you look at a menu and go, oh, I don't know, before you come around to the prawns yet again? Or
It's just, it is funny how much when you're on holiday, everything just revolves around those 3 meals a day. Like, it's just like in normal life, I don't even know if I have 3 meals a day, and it's just like, but like, they're just these huge events in the day, like, and nothing can like, all that matters are the meals. Everything else just somehow has to slot in around meals.
And if you want to, you can nap after each and every one of those meals. Like, it's...
can and do. There's been some very impressive napping done on this trip, I can tell you. Very impressive.
Because we're recording a little bit later tonight, I was sitting watching the news and stuff at home, and I fell asleep. And like just on the couch, just napped off. And came and then woke up half an hour later and the family were already having dinner. I was like, oh, right, okay. And so I went over and had dinner and they'd let me snooze. Later on, I come to my phone and sure enough, there's like some video footage of me on a funny angle looking just ridiculous, like Homer Simpson snoring, you know.
Excellent. So can they get into your phone or are they just able to open the camera?
No, they can get into the phone. We all have, we all know each other's passwords. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, gosh. That's a lot of power you're giving your daughters.
Yes, well, obviously, don't suggest anything to them.
Can I just say, girls, hats off to you for making that video of your dad while he was asleep. But how dare you not have sent that to me straight away? from
I'll swap you for a spray tan photo.
Gotta go the spray tan before a big sermon. Next time you do a really big sermon, go the spray tan so you've got that healthy glow. I'm not saying that I got this message from a burning bush, but hey, look at me.
He's like, ooh, he's a fireman, just like Brady's a waterman.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to know or want me to do while you got me here in the water? I'm looking out. The sun's setting in about 20 minutes, I reckon, half an hour. Out that way is the sunset.
Yeah, it does look like it's going down. It's nice.
Were you given any secret words that you had to get into this episode?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. So, no, let's not wrap it up just yet. Okay, no, very good.
Yeah, go on then. Let's
done.
Let's drop those bombs.
Hang on. We've got to talk about this. Okay, so listen, okay, so it's not long till Christmas, right?
Why don't you get me to say the words? You get me to say the words. Go on.
As in, I'll try and provoke you to say them, like a game.
Well, you can give me some pretty big clues.
Okay. All right. What's something you love to eat at Christmas?
Oh, I like some pudding. I like eating mince pies. They're nice.
Mm-hmm.
Custard is always nice to have at Christmas.
No, you're cooler now. Stay on the mince pie bit for a bit.
Not like turkey and stuff. You mean like...
No,
are you asking me about sweet things? Do you like sweet things I like to eat, or...?
Okay, but this food is unique in that it can be a little man.
Oh, gingerbread man.
Yeah.
Gingerbread.
Very good.
Oh,
very good.
That would have been hard. That would have been hard to draw. It wasn't very good. You said this can be a little man. You basically told me what it was.
I'm just talking to you now like you are a child. Like, well done there.
Yeah. And what else? Was that the only word?
No, there's another word. This one, let me take you in a different direction. So you're staying in these little holiday homes, right? And they got some nice things to create a lovely ambience, inside at nighttime.
They do. Yeah, they have nice furniture, or they have lights and lighting. They have
just lights,
lamps. They don't have lamps actually. Oh, they do have lamps. Are we thinking about things that only create a nice ambience at nighttime?
Yes.
Are you asking if they have candles?
Very good. That's well done. That's you got there.
That's wasn't that one. I don't think you'd be allowed to have candles on these thatched roof wooden huts on a wooden pier out at sea.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. I don't think they do have candles, but nevertheless.
Are you allowed to have gingerbread men then?
You are. I think gingerbread is allowed. Well, I'm going to head off, man.
You've done well to be standing in the water in paradise for an hour. Well done.
And just a reminder to people, if they want to watch the video version of this episode, we'll include pictures and stuff like that for people to look at. And this is the moment where I think, God, if this recording hasn't worked, I'm going to be really upset.
Well, this is the moth signing off.
The moth, fucking moth. All right, I'm going to get out of the water now. Here I go. Going up the steps. Turning off GoPro 1.